dreaming of studying in Finland but you have no idea from where to start? In this video, I'm going to walk you through the step by step, starting from the requirements for school application, securing your visa, and even tips for booking your flight ticket. So if you want to know more about this, then stay tuned. Let's get started. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Alison. If you're new to this channel, then this is exactly where you need to be. If you're a returning subscriber, I just want to say thank you. So let's dive into the video. First of all, let's start with the application season in Finland. So in Finland, they usually have two application seasons for schools. There is what they call the spring admission, which usually starts from January to around March. Then there is equally the autumn admission, which usually begins between August and September. So what you need to understand is that when schools open for spring admission, school resumes in autumn. And when schools open their application or their admission in autumn, it is for schools to resume in spring. So with this being said, let's talk about some of the requirements for application or for school application. The first thing we need to consider is what program we would like to apply for. Is it a bachelor's degree program or a master's degree program? Because some of the requirements are more or less different. Talking about the bachelor's degree requirement, you need to have a high school certificate or an equivalent of the high school certificate. You equally need to have an IELTS or the language proficiency, which is most likely IELTS with a band score of 6.5, and you equally need to have for this application or passport. So if you do not have a passport, make sure you get that first before you attempt to apply. So now talking about the master's program, it is more or less the same thing. You would need your bachelor's degree certificate and transcript for the application. You would need as well your passport for the application, and in some cases they may require you to have an experience letter to attach to your application. That means if you have worked in the field that you're planning to study, let's say you have gotten a bachelor's degree in nursing and you have been practicing in nursing, they would require you to attach an experience letter or a portfolio, right, with all your experiences that you've gotten from that field. Now that you know all the requirements, the next thing that you need to know is how to apply. So when you want to apply for schools in Finland, there is a website. Yes, there is a portal for all school application, and this portal is none else but studyinfo.fi. I know you might have heard about this website, but this is the only website where you can apply for university programs in Finland. So what you need to do is to go to your web browser, type studyinfo.fi, then you go to the search bar, you filter the search, get programs that are in English, and specify the program you want to apply for. Let's say you want to apply for nursing or IT or whatever it is that you want to apply for. Search for your program, and then a couple of schools or a list of schools will appear for you to search or to choose from. So the first thing you have to do is go through each and every one of these schools and try to find the tuition that is more convenient for you. You would realize that in every school that you would open, it will show the school fees and equally the scholarship that they do offer for this program. So you need to check with that to know if it is something that is financially affordable for you or not, and go for the ones that are affordable and not the ones that at the end of the day it's going to be an issue for you to pay the tuition. So I would say, for my own, apply to as many schools as possible in order to increase your opportunities or your options. And also, one thing you need to know is that as from January 2025, there will be an application fee of €100 for every joint application. Already, when you are applying for joint application, it will automatically send your application to 4 or 5 or 6 different schools. But if you can try to apply for maybe 2 or 3 joint applications, which means you would have at least 12 schools that you have applied to, which would thereby increase your opportunities of being selected. Now that you know all the required documents and you know the website, the next thing for you to do is to apply. Make sure you fill in all the information that are required of you, and most especially upload all the documents that we stated earlier. Once you're done uploading this, some schools may require you to do the entrance exam, and for the entrance exam you have to prepare ahead of time. For the entrance exam, you need to have a good mastery, or not really an excellent mastery, but you need to at least know a little bit of math, basic math, addition, subtraction, conversion, multiplication, converting from minutes to hours. Those kind of basic skills, they will test to see if you have an understanding of such skills, and also they would equally give you some logic tests in the written part, because generally the entrance exam is in 2 parts, the written part and then the spoken part. So the written part is usually math, it's a little bit of logic and a little bit of English, and then the Interview is more or less like questions related, maybe related to the field that you want to study, or just try as much as possible to be expressive, yeah, especially during the interview. Be expressive, be bold enough to talk whenever they ask a question. Always attempt. So now that we have gotten to the stage of application, and let's say at this point you have gotten your admission, you've prepared for your entrance exam, you succeeded your entrance exam. Now let's talk about the visa application. As soon as you get your acceptance letter, the first thing for you to do is to start applying for your visa, and also book your flight ticket ahead of time. I'm going to give you a couple of tips to secure a cheap or affordable flight ticket, but before that, let's talk about the visa application process. What are the requirements for student visa application? The first thing, obviously, that you need to have is a passport. You need to have your passport. You equally need to have your acceptance letter after the school sends you that acceptance letter, because without this acceptance letter, the immigration officers will not even consider you. The next thing is your proof of fund. So the proof of fund in Finland has been raised to the sum of 9,600 euro. Make sure you have this amount of money in your bank account, or you have a bank statement that shows that you have this money, and your bank statement should be at least 3 to 6 months. Another thing that you need to have is a health insurance, and the health insurance depends as well on your years of study. Generally, this is not very expensive, but you need to have a coverage of between 40,000 euros to 120,000 euros, and you can get such health insurance at a cost of around 100, 200, or dollar. The next thing that you need to have when applying for your visa is passport size photos, because you need to upload all of this in your Enter Finland account. So now that you have all these documents, the next thing for you to do is to go to Enter Finland and apply for your visa. One more time, make sure that you fill in every spot that is there for you to fill in every necessary information and pay the visa fee. So now that you're done filling in your form, you've applied for your visa, you have to book for a VFS appointment. So some of you may be wondering, what is a VFS appointment? Well, the VFS appointment is for you to prove your identity. The biometrics will be taking your fingerprints and then a capture photo of you, and in some cases they may equally ask you a couple of questions related to your application. And at this point, all I just want to say is congratulations for going through all the various steps, and now you have your visa. What are some of the tips to secure an affordable flight ticket? The first thing is make sure you always book your flight ahead of time, because most times flights tend to be very expensive when you're approaching the date of your journey. So try to book your flight ticket ahead of time. The next thing that you need to consider is when you are looking for a flight ticket online, consider to put your settings in incognito mode. Go to your Google searching and put on the cognito mode or the incognito mode, and it would prevent Google from knowing that you are searching for a flight ticket related to that. Hence, it will freeze the prices to the normal price, because if you do not do that, what happens is when you go from one side to another or from one ticket to another, you would see that there will be an increase instead of a reduction or a constant price. So in order to increase your chances of getting like a lower rate flight ticket, then put your settings on incognito mode. The next tip that you need to consider is consider to book your flight in times where there are promotions or discounts. Use these ones to reduce the cost of the flight ticket. Another important thing you need to know is find out if there is any student discount that you can use. For some schools or for some airlines, it will give you the option to use your student discount to book your flight ticket. So all you need to do is to register, and then you go. There is usually like a spot, especially with Qatar Airways, they usually have like a spot where you can fill in your student details, anything related to your school, right? Once you have all these details, you put that in the system, and it's going to give you a discount that will go a long way to reduce the cost of flight ticket. Another thing that you need to consider when you're trying to get a cheap flight ticket, be flexible with your dates. Try to change the dates, right? The dates may be 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, 6 days, even up to 10 days differences when booking your flight ticket, in order to get the best possible date or the cheapest rate for your flight. The last but not the least tip that you need to consider when booking your flight ticket is consider the layovers. Most flights with short layovers are usually very expensive, but flights with long layovers are somehow cheaper because the layovers are somehow long. So if you can afford to go on a flight with long layovers and get the reduced rate on the flight, then go for it. All I want to say at this point is congratulations in advance, and thank you for watching this video right up to the end. In my next videos, I'm going to talk more about how to move to Finland and how to integrate to the society. So make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel, hit the like button and hit the notification bell. Thank you so much and see you in my next one.